warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Hijrinia Kusamaning Ayu with ID number A12122-132. Welcome to our presentation video or video presentation, and thanks for taking time to watch this video. Today, we are from group 3. We'll talk about something that's really important in poetry but often goes unnoticed. It's about versification. So, what is versification? Let me explain to you. Versification is the art of writing poetry. It's about how poets use rhythm, sounds, and structure to make their poems sound beautiful and meaningful. It's not just about how the poem looks or sounds, but how its structure and how to show feelings and meanings. And in verification, there are several components that make the poetry feel alive. The first component is matter. What is matter? Matter is the regular pattern of strong, or we call it as stressed, and weak or unstressed syllables in a line of poetry. And these patterns give a poem its rhythm. Matter is one of the most important things that makes poetry differ from normal writing. It's like the poem's beat or musical base of a poetry. In matter, there are also several important components. The first is measurement by accent. This part talks about how English poems use patterns or stressed and unstressed syllables. These patterns help to create the rhythm of the poem. And there are also some common patterns of measurement by accent. The first is lamp. So lamp consists of weak plus strong syllable, like in a word alone. Alone. So the stress in the syllables lone. And then the second is trochy. Trochy consists of strong plus weak, like the word table. Table. The stress put in the syllables table. And then there are also spendy. It consists of strong plus strong, like the word heartbreaking. And then the fourth is dactyl, consists of strong plus weak plus weak, like the word beautiful. And then the last is anapes. It consists of weak plus strong, like the word intervene. Poets often mix and play with these patterns to create a special effect. For example, they might use different patterns in one part to make a word stands out or to show strong emotion. And this makes the poem more interesting and meaningful. The section may also talk about how English poetry changed over the time, moving away from the older styles used in classical, like in Latin or Greek poetry. And that's all my explanation. The next point of matter will be explained by my friend.
Thank you for the opportunity. Next, I will explain material about the metrical foot and verse. Building upon the concept of metrical feet, this section explores how these units combine to form lines of verse, each with its own distinct rhythmic character. It would like describe an examply common metrical patterns such as iambic, panmender, or 5 iambic feet per line, through high thread meter or 4 through high foot per line, and last dactylic hex meter or 6 dactylic feet per line, and others expect at the detailed explanation of section the process of analyzing and marking the metrical pattern of a line. To identify deviations from the established method, furthermore, the section may discuss the concept of Kitzlich's and its effect on the rim, exploring the relationship between metrical patterns and poetic genres, iambic, panmeter, in sans, and blank verse. Would also provide an visual context for understanding the significance of metrical cues. And next, number 3, closure and emphasis. This section provides a comprehensive examination of the closure and natural pause or break within a line of poetry and its critical function in creating emphasis and rhythmic variance. It would like disputes between different types of closure, such as masculine occurring after a stretch and feminine occurring after an untrusted syllable, and their placement within the line. This exploration would like delve into how closure as can create and seize or balance or imbalance of my scarce words, or pairs and control the pacing of them. Additionally, the section mix examine the use or concatenation of sentence or phrase for one line to next without a pause. Next, regular stream and greeting a sense of momentary or surprise. It will discuss how the interplay between closure and enhancement contributes to the overall rhythmic, complexity, and expressive power of the poem. And last, the stance and blank verse. This section provides a detailed definition of the stance as a group of lines forming a recurring unit within a poem and explores various types of stances. Common stance forms such as the couple or 2 lines, tercets, quartine, 4 lines, octave, and various belt and sonnet form will be described with examples out there. Characteristic rhyme schemes and structural feature and addition. The section examination blank verse which an human imbibe. Panmeter and its signifies the historical prevalence of blank verse in English dramatic. And narrative poetry will be discussed along with the flexibility and naturalness of exploration. Its province will still maintain a rhythmic structure. I think that's all for me. I return to moderator. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Putri Sheryl with ID number A12122-164. Alright, I will explain about verse and melody. The first rhyme. This section covers the multi-phase use of rhyme, repetition of similar sounds, usually at the of lines. It likely explore different types of rhyme, or full rhyme, slant rhyme, a rhyme, and rhyme smash. Couplet, alternate rhyme, and fourth rhyme. There's a rima spenceri stanza, and how poets use rhyme to create musicality. The strategy use of internal rhyme or rhyme within a line and its effect on the poem's rhyme and emphasis will also be explored, as well as the potential use or avoidance of rhyme to create specific emotional or thematic effect. Next, quantity. This section examines the concept of quantity, which refers to the duration or length of syllables and its role in influencing the rhyme of poetry. This explanation extends to how variation in syllable length can affect the flow and emphasize within a line, and might discuss how poets can use alliteration, assonance, and consonants to create a sense of musicality remains of quantity first. Next, alliteration and assonance. This section discusses the use of alliteration, the repetition of consonant sound and beginning of words, and assonance, the repetition of vowel sound within words. Expect an exploration of how does sound device create a sense of cohesion and emphasis. Okay, next about onomatopoeia. This section focus on the use of onomatopoeia, words that imitate sounds, to create a vivid auditory experience for the reader. It likely explores how poets use onomatopoeia to bring their description to life and engaging the reader's sense and enhancing the emotional impact of the poem. The effectiveness of onomatopoeia in creating specific sensory experience and is used in setting the tone or mood of a poem will also be analyzed. I think that's all for me.